Racism in Boston has been an issue that's plagued the city for decades. A year ago, the Boston Globe came out with a 7-part series that detailed how racism has permeated through multiple aspects of the city. Recently, I got the chance to sit down with 3 members of the African American community here in Boston to talk about their experiences with racism, Boston, and the two combined.
You go to certain bars because other bars are white and you don't go there, and you go to certain clubs and things like that. I think Boston is so segregated and so separate. Yeah, it leads to I feel like there are neighborhoods that I don't feel welcome in, that I shouldn't go to in Boston.
How have you seen Boston as a welcoming or unwelcoming place in your experience to minorities?
No, it's super welcoming. I mean, everyone is just doing their own thing and no one's worried about what other people are thinking, and I think that's awesome. They're for sure not talked down to. I didn't personally experience it a lot, but you hear about it, you somewhat see it, and I don't think that happens much around here.
And so you're saying they're not talked down to in Boston versus in those other places?
Right, correct.
It's a great learning experience, I'd say, because you're not always going to work with people who think like you, speak the same language as you, who look like you. So it's definitely been a really enlightening experience because you're able to interact with so many different cultures and really learn how it is to work in business in the real world, because that's what it's going to be like.
What was your experience like as a minority on BU's campus?
I guess kind of the same as high school. Like I said, I never viewed myself as, oh, it's me and them. It's like we're just all them.
I love how you can just go out and do your own thing. Like you can go to Charles and see all kinds of people. You can have headphones in or not and just do your own thing. And I love how open the city is and everyone's just doing their own thing no matter if they're super busy or not.
Many out there still feel as Rock does, however, and with recent events like the Adam Jones ordeal, the city's issues with racism have come to the forefront.
In New York, you can walk down a street and see people of all different races. In my hometown, there could be a Black, Asian, and Latinx family all living on the same street. In Boston, there is one section of Dorchester where Vietnamese folks live and one section where Dominican folks live, and that is all separated and removed from public transportation where white folks live. And I think because of that, there's no real connecting. In Boston, you could, as a white person, live very long in this city without seeing a Black person or interacting with them on a real way, and I think that is what I experienced the longer that I was here.
And when you hear stories, I know we talked earlier about kind of the Adam Jones situation off camera. What kind of goes through your minds when you hear about stories like that still persisting in this area?
I think it's crazy how people think it's okay to say something like that to any athlete that's great at their sport. You shouldn't, they're doing the best they can. If you're a fan, you can't do what they're doing. So I just think that it's them being insecure about themselves, and they find the one thing that they can say to maybe get under someone's skin.
When you reference things like this, people, in my program, there's a couple minorities, actually a fair amount of minorities in my program in Questrom, and they always bring it up. I never really know how to relate to it because I've never personally experienced it, but when I hear stories like this, then I can say, oh yeah, maybe, there is truth to what they're saying, and maybe I should be more vigilant.
How can BU and Boston kind of colleges as a whole, in your opinion, they're continuing to kind of be those places where diversity can foster? How do they continue to do that?
I'm fortunate enough to have athletics as a base for my community and who I choose to hang out with, and I feel like if I didn't have that, having the groups around campus would help, and just continue doing that, but also allow others to join other groups just because and not because based on race or anything else. Just keep it open.
There is a strong need to build community and a strong want to do that. Despite the negatives, I think building community off of that and having folks support you through it has been really great.
No matter the differing opinions, the perceptions of Boston as a racist city won't change until the government and the citizens of Boston do something about it. In Kenmore Square, I'm Dave Souza.